Welcome to Chapter 10, Learning Objective 10, where we're going to identify some of the anti-poverty programs that the government uses, and we're going to classify those and talk about a few of them. So let's go ahead and I'll share my screen with you. Okay, so again, anti-poverty programs. So when we take a look at different measurements, and there are some issues in terms of how we measure poverty. So this is from 2020, 2006. And when we talk about the poorest fifth of households versus the richest fifth, then I kind of showed you some stuff from 2019. Again, here we have 15 times, I had 17 times. So when we look at the account for progressive taxes, the richest fifth are about 14 times as much after-tax income as the poorest fifth. So the redistribution of income is kind of what we're seeing here. In terms of consumption, the richest fifth consume 3.9 times as much as consumption because they have more means to do so. So when we take a look and correct for the differences in households, the richest fifth average about 3.1 people, the poorest fifth about 1.7 people. And again, when we talk about this now, we see that consumption per person in terms of the measurements is only about 2 times as much as consumption of the poorest fifth. So the idea of giving tax breaks to the richest so that they will increase consumption is a bit troublesome when we see these particular statistics. Okay, anti-poverty programs. So families, poor families, more likely to experience things like homelessness, health problems, teen pregnancy, illiteracy, and unemployment. And the government then should provide a safety net to these individuals in these particular areas. So here's some policies that we'll consider. There are 2 classifications of policies. The first one is cash assistance. Those would be things like disability. Those would be things like Social Security. Those would be aid to dependent families. In-kind transfers are more like food banks, things like that, where we have goods and services being conveyed to individuals who meet a particular need. Here's some cash transfer programs, again, Social Security, the Earned Income Tax Credit, unemployment, and TANF, and temporary assistance for families in need. Okay, we used to call it aid to dependent families, now we call it TANF. In-kind transfers, again, are forms of goods and services rather than cash. So illiteracy programs, things like that. So in-kind transfers, again, the SNAP program, and if you've ever heard about SNAP, you know that that is food stamps, at least that's what we used to call it, housing assistance, Medicare, and Medicaid. So in looking at these programs, the ideas behind them are to provide safety nets for those individuals in poverty in impoverished households. So next time we're going to talk about the labor market discrimination, and then we'll talk a little bit about comparative worth. And those are our last 2 objectives for this program. I'll see you next time.